Pada diem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated because we're going to start our event soon. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon us all. The Honorable Captain Yuron Gandos Situmeang, SAM, the Senior Advisor in Logistics Multimodal Transportation, Ministry of Transportation, Dr. Atong Sukirman, SAMM, the Deputy Assistant for National Logistic Development, Coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs, Dr. Asep Suparwan, the Head of Senate ITL Trisakti and the members, Rector and Vice Rectors of ITL Trisakti, Professor Dr. Dera Yolanda Masnita Siagian, MM, the Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Business, Trisakti University, Dr. Agus Pasongko, SPMM, the Head of Business Development Practice of Trisakti University, Bapak Rianto MSc Farm, the Head of Study Program, Institute Pariwisata Trisakti, Bapak Indra Arifin Jasan, SEMAK, serta Trisakti School of Management, Bapak Budi Suyanto, MSc, the Chairman of Trisakti School of Multimedia, Dr. Antonius Anton Lee, SMM, the Chairman of Trisakti School of Insurance, Bapak Rizky N. Utomo, SMM, the Head of Association of Halal Logistics, Bapak Taufik, MS, Vice President of Transportation Planning of PT Pelni, Bapak Hadi Purwanto, Vice President of PT KAI Logistics, Ibu Nesi Simarmata, Bank Negara Indonesia, our partners, the esteemed speakers, colleagues, and all participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th Global Research on Sustainable Transportation and Logistics Conference 2024. I am Reni, the modern MC for this event. On behalf of the organizing committee, we'd like to extend our gratitude for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure the smooth flow of our today's program, I would like to remind a few important points. First, please switch your mobile phone to silent mode. And second, we kindly ask for your cooperation in respecting the speakers by avoiding conversations during the presentations. Thank you very much. We would also like to take a moment to express our sincere appreciation to our sponsors and partners who have made this event possible. Our heartfelt thanks go to Kereta Api Logistik, PT Pelni, Bank Negara Indonesia, Shortcut Barbershop, Cyber Hair Salon, Skipla, and Lembaga Pengembangan Transportasi dan Logistik Trisakti. Your support has been invaluable to the success of Grostlog 2024. National coaches including some of our most systems. engage, ask insightful questions, and participate. Now, this is everybody understand for the meaning of the National Indonesia Raya. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin today's event with an opening speech from Rector of ITL Trisakti. Everybody, let's welcome Ibu Dr. Yuliantini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon us all. The Honorable Captain Yufridon Gandos Tumeam, SAMM, as Senior Advisor of Logistics Multimodal Transport. Dr. Atong Sukirman, SAMM, as the Deputy Assistant for National Logistics Development Coordinating Ministry of Economy Affairs. Dr. Asep Sparman, as the head of Senate ITL Trisakti and the members, Vice Rector ITL Trisakti, Professor Dr. Handa Yolanda Nastita, MM, as the Dean of the Faculty of Economic and Business, and Agung Sasongko, STMM, as the head of Business Development, Practicum, as the representative of Trisakti University. Bapak Rianto, MSc, PAR, as the head of Studi Program Tourism Company of Institute Pariwisata Trisakti. Honorable Bapak Budi Suyanto, SSN, MSc, as the chairman of Trisakti School Multimedia. Bapak Indra Arifin Jasman, SM, MAK, Serda from Trisakti School of Management. Dr. Antonius Anton Lee, SAMM, as the chairman of Trisakti School of Insurance. Our partners, especially the head of Association of Halal Logistics, Bapak Rizky Eri Utomo, SAMM. The esteemed speaker, colleagues, and participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and excitement that I welcome you to the 8th edition of Global Research on Sustainable Transportation and Logistics, atau Grostlog or Grostlog 2024. On behalf of the Trisakti Institute of Transportation and Logistics, I extend our warm greeting to all of you who have traveled from near and far to be part of this important gathering. This year, we are proud to host over 400 participants. We received more than 180 articles from Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Russia, South Korea, the Netherlands, and China. This diverse representation highlights the global significance on the topic we will discuss today, and we are grateful for your contribution to this forum. This year, the theme of our conference, Transformative Trends Shaping the Future of Transportation and Logistic Management, is particularly relevant as we face rapid advancement in technology and the increasing need to sustainable practices. The program we have prepared is packed with insightful session, expert discussion. We are honored to have world-renowned speakers with us today, including Dr. Robert De Sousa from the National University of Singapore, Dr. Rita Zahara Binti Wanci from University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Dr. Marco Timan, CEO of Logistic Building Block International, the Netherlands, and Dr. Ahmad Muhyiddin Arifai from the Trisakti Institute of Transportation and Logistics, Indonesia. Throughout the day, participants will have the opportunity to engage in a variety of sessions, including plenary discussion, paper presentation, and networking activities. You will also witness the signing of Memorandum of Understanding with Asosiasi Halal Logistik Indonesia, an exciting step toward advancing halal logistics in Indonesia. In the afternoon, we will hold a parallel session where presenters from various institutions will share their research findings on topics such as digitalization, automation, green logistics, and supply chains resilience. This session will provide a deeper dive into the cutting-edge research shaping the future of our industries. I am confident that today's conference will be a valuable opportunity for all of us to exchange ideas, share innovation, and build a partnership that will contribute to the growth of sustainable transportation and logistics. Let us take this opportunity to collaborate and learn from one another as we collectively strive for a more efficient, sustainable, and resilient future. Once again, I welcome you all to Grostlog 2024. I wish you a productive and insightful day ahead. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ibu Dr. Yuliantini. Up next is the highlight of our program. We are honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Bapak Dr. Atong Sukirman, SAMM, the Deputy Assistant for National Logistic Development from Coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Atong Sukirman.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the Honorable Bapak Kapten Yuron Gandos Situmeang, Senior Officer for Minister of Transportation, Ibu Dr. Yuliantini, Rektor ITL Trisakti, and tim, Bapak Dr. Yulian, Bapak Basri, Rektor of Trisakti University, Rektor Trisakti Institute of Tourism, Head of Trisakti School of Economic, Head of Trisakti School of Insurance Management, Trisakti School of Communication Media, dan Bapak Dr. Asep Suparman, Senat of Trisakti Institute of Transport Logistik, Prof. Bob, Robert Souza, our best friend. Thank you. Bapak Dr. Mahfud Iman. He's a professor special for the halal logistics. Thank you. Ibu Dr. Rita Zahara binti Wancik, University of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. All distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Pak Gandos. Thank you, Pak Gandos. Please allow me to deliver Bapak Dr. Airlangga Tarto speech, Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs. Alhamdulillah, we can gather this morning for the Global Research on Sustainable Transport and Logistics 2024, Grostlog 2024. I highly appreciate the Trisakti Foundation and the Trisakti Institute for Transport and Logistics for organizing this event. This conference play a strategic role in strengthening the collaboration between government, academia, business, and internally partner, especially in the dynamic global economy, transportation, and logistics of Indonesia. I appreciate that Ibu Rektor said that there are 186 papers from abroad submit for this conference. This is a good achievement for ITL Trisakti. Under the theme transformative, shaping the future of transportation and logistic management, we are facing a crucial transition moment to achieve inclusive and sustainable economic growth. This is relevant with the current situation Indonesia facing. We are deficit current account in transportation services. If we look at back from the Bank Indonesia data, it shows Indonesia deficit 6.2 billion US dollar in 2021, 8.2 billion US dollar in 2022, and then 8.7 billion US dollar in 2023. It would mean this is relevant with the topic regarding transformative trend shaping and future of transportation and logistics management. perhaps that this event can give us bright idea, knowledge sharing, and then to lesson from lesson learned from the another country to handle this issue. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in the last decade, the Indonesia economy has continued to perform well. Indonesia has succeeded in maintaining solid economic growth in the range of 5%. Even though it contracted during the pandemic, the economy recovered quickly. Various entities, IMF, World Bank, OECD, give optimistic projection and predict that Indonesia economy will keep growing despite global economic deceleration. In the second quarter of 2024, the global economic conditions still experienced various challenges that stimulated economic deceleration in many countries. However, Indonesia has the lowest probability, 1% only, of experiencing a recession compared to another countries such as Germany, 42.5% probability, and Malaysia 4%. Besides, in this quarter, Indonesia economic growth achieved 5.05%, one of the higher figure after Vietnam with the 9.93% and Taiwan 5.09%. That being said, this economic growth is supported by a low and controlled inflation of 1.84% in September 2024, among the lowest compared to another country. Furthermore, the rate of poverty and unemployment in Indonesia has declined from 2021 to 2024. Perhaps that how to develop the transportation sectors can give our human resources for a job. This is very crucial in Indonesia. Indonesia transportation and warehousing sector experienced steady average economic growth between 2011 until 2019, 6.38% until 8.31%. However, it has a deep contraction to minus 15.0% during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 due to the movement mitigation policy from the government. Since then, the sector has significantly grown to a peak of 19.80% in 2022. Nevertheless, there is a declining growth trend for the sector from 2022 until second quarter 2024 to re-exhibit its average trend before the COVID-19 pandemic. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in line with what is being done by Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs together with the Line Ministry, we are currently propose the new policy regarding how to strengthen our logistic issues. We revise President Instruction number 5, 2020 regarding the national logistic ecosystem, and to revise Presidential Decree number 26, 2012 regarding the blueprint of the system national logistic system. We propose the new policy to counter how to reduce the cost logistic, how to improve our logistic performance index, because we know that logistic performance index go down 17 point from 46 to 63. This is very crucial. And then to improve national, to ensure availability raw material and auxiliary material needed in production and supply chains, to ensure availability of essential goods and reduce price disparity between regions, especially in remote, outermost, and border area, to support the competitiveness and national export goods and services to increase accessibility between region and area. I think this event is related and relevant with our new policy regarding policy in Indonesia. To achieve this goal, the policy is implemented through four main pillars. There are four main pillars here. First, how to strengthen national logistics ecosystem. As we all know, there are certain services. Example, single submission for shipping, single submission for quarantine and custom process. This can reduce the cost and to save the time. And then the second pillar is how to improve our infrastructure and connectivity. As we all know that Indonesia is uniquely, we are archipelago. There are 17,000 islands in Indonesia. There are remote area. So we have to solve this connectivity. And then we have a discussion with the line ministry, especially for the transportation ministry and line minister to develop how to effective connectivity in Indonesia in the future. And then the third pillar, enhancing the competitiveness of human resources and logistic service provider. This pillar aim to improve the capabilities of your logistic human resources and elevate logistic service provider. As we all know, there are 5 logistic provider in the world. First pillar, second pillar, third pillar, fourth pillar, and the 5 pillar. Indonesia stay in third pillar. This is there are challenging tasks for us here, especially for ETL Trisakti, how to develop people, especially for the logistic human resources. Because in the coming years, we should respond about the logistic opportunity. Because if Indonesia didn't provide or to develop logistic human in Indonesia, there are many of the people from abroad go inside Indonesia. So this is a very important ITL Trisakti, and then another university to develop people. And then the fourth pillar, we call it digital transformation of logistic services, which include 3 stages. First, digitization. Second, digitalization. And then third, digital transformation. This will help the government reduce national logistic costs and improve Indonesia Logistic Performance Index score. As we all know, nowadays Indonesia have developed application between government to government, government to business, business to business, and then the last is customer to customer. This is the challenging task for us, and then we have several effort to discuss how to resolve these issues. And then for this moment, we are glad to inform you that coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs collaborate with the National University of Singapore here, Prof. Bob here. We have several discussion regarding how to solve the cost, logistic cost and other issues. And then we collaborate with the ITL Trisakti, and then we collaborate with the ITB, ITS, UGM, and then form the private sector. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we congratulate the Trisakti Foundation and the Trisakti Institute of Transport Logistics for organizing the Grostlog 2024 conference. May this conference contribute valuable insight to government in creating an efficient and effective national logistics system. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi Thank you, Dr. Atong. Dr. Atong, please, could you kindly stay on the stage because we would like to give a token of appreciation. Everybody, please give big applause. For the next keynote speaker, we're happy to invite Captain Yufridon Gandos Situmeang, SARM, the Senior Advisor in Logistic Multimedia Transportation, Ministry of Transportation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Captain Yufridon Gandos Situmeang.
Senang berada kembali di kampus yang tercinta ini ya. Bagi rekan-rekan sekalian, tepuk tangan dong. Baik, terima kasih. First of all, saya mau menyampaikan permohonan maaf dulu dari Bapak Menteri Perhubungan. First of all, apologize from our Minister of Transportation, Bapak Budi Karya Sumadi, yang sebenarnya actually he won't come to this event. Tapi karena suatu hal bersamaan menyampaikan permohonan beliau dan meminta kami untuk hadir sebagai keynote speaker pada hari ini. Tentunya suatu kebanggaan bagi saya untuk dapat memberikan hadir bersama kembali di Institut Transportasi Logistik di Trisakti ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sehat sejahtera kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Nama Budaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Yang saya hormati tentunya kepada Bapak dari Kementerian Kemenkomarves, Pak ya, Ekonomi, Pak ya. Dan tentunya Bapak Ibu yang hadir, tentunya rektor, para aktivitas akademi, dosen dari Institut Transportasi Logistik yang hari ini mempunyai hajat, dan also to Bapak Ibu as narasumber from Singapore, Malaysia, and Netherlands. I'm so sorry, I don't remember the name because I just get that job this after 6 hours before, so not remember yet. Maybe after this we can make two-way communication. Yeah, Indonesia is open mind to make good cooperation to other country, especially for Indonesia 2045 to Indonesia to goal. Thank you very much. Tentunya yang saya banggakan, yang saya cintai dari semua mahasiswa-mahasiswi di kampus yang tercinta ini, saya kedua kalinya ke sini. Ini luar biasa sekali. Hari ini pakaiannya hitam-hitam ini dari mana nih, Pak? Oh iya. Ini bukannya mau wisuda ya? Kalau mau wisuda saya kasih pantun, tapi kalau wisuda nggak saya kasih pantun. Baik, sekali lagi Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, esteemed college, research and industry professionals. Tentunya yang utama dan paling utama, marilah kita panjatkan puji syukur kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Kuasa atas rahmat karunia-Nya kita diberikan berkah nikmat sehat pada hari ini. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati dan para mahasiswa-mahasiswi, dosen yang luar biasa, Indonesia dalam hal ini pemerintahan Bapak Jokowi Presiden tentunya selalu memberikan ruang kepada kita semua untuk melakukan namanya research industry. Dan pada kesempatan berbahagia inilah kita melihat bahwa sekali lagi saya bukannya memuji, bukannya selalu mengapresiasi, tapi ini adalah suatu event yang bagus. Kenapa? Sudah lebih advance sedikit. Karena kalau kita bicara logistik, maka logistik performance index kita tantangan kita tahun ini. Saya kesini tadi sudah menghitung berapa angkutan darat yang menggunakan sumbu 2, sumbu 3 kontainer, terutama di highway tol ini. Jadi biaya transportasi nasional perorangan pun cukup tinggi. Namun kita juga lihat bahwa biaya-biaya yang muncul karena faktor kecelakaan dan sebagainya. Tentunya sekali lagi saya berharap dalam Joint to Global Research on Sustainable Transport and Logistics ini bisa memberikan suatu kunci motivasi kepada generasi kita yang hadir pada kesempatan hari ini. Artinya saya juga menunggu Bapak Ibu dari Trisakti, Pak dosen. Waktu kita bertemu di sini, saya berharapkan ada satu kajian, uji data, terkait dengan angkutan barang kita. Karena kita ke depan katanya 2 bulan lagi mau Natal Tahun Baru, Pak. Saya akan menyampaikan di sini waktu itu, yuk kita uji data. Agar transportasi kita yang dibatasi bukan mengurangi satu pihak atau dua pihak, tapi memberikan keuntungan yang luar biasa. Slide saya akan menyampaikan, mungkin keynote ini akan lebih bagus, bisa saya memberikan dalam bentuk juga ada audio visual. Jadi pertama-tama tentunya I'm truly honored to be here and have the opportunity to discuss the transformative trends shaping the future of transportation and logistic management. Today, we find ourselves in a pivotal era where change is not longer incremental. It is exponential across industry. Innovation and disruption are driving force, but none more so than is transportation and logistics. Bapak Ibu sekalian, kita melihat bahwa the strategic important role of the transportation sector in national development, bahwa transportation infrastructure telah di-develop oleh government bekerja sama. Ini merupakan the backbone of economies dari activity. Oleh karenanya kita melihat bahwa our interconnected world relying on complex supply chains and rapid movement of goods and people. Demands that we not only keep pace with this change, but actively shape the future. Jadi, so our guest lainnya bahwa the 3 KPI, the Minister of Transportation, the first is connectivity national. Jadi para mahasiswa yang saya banggakan, inilah salah satu yang akan menjadi perhatian kita, bahwa pemerintah membangun infrastruktur ini agar kita mendapatkan sambungan konektivitas dari Sabang Merauke, Miangas sampai Rote. The next, sesuai dengan topik, maka the key transformating trends that I believe will redefine our sector in the coming years. The first, digital transformation and automation. Sudah saatnya kita melihat bahwa transformasi digital ini sudah menjadi keharusan agar hal-hal yang menjadi tadi tantangan kita terhadap biaya dan hal-hal lainnya bisa lebih efisiensi. Digitalization is the backbone, the transportation logistic revolution. Now we are technology, internet things, AI, machine learning are no longer futuristic concept. They are here, already optimized routes, predictive maintenance records, and improving operational efficiency. With this technology, real-time tracking, predictive analytics, and automatic warehousing are becoming the new standard. Jadi, pertama ada digitalisasi. Mulailah saya berharap kepada kader atau generasi muda kenali hal ini dengan baik. The second is sustainability as a strategic imperative. Kita melihat bahwa berkelanjutan lebih penting daripada kita bicara day by day, tapi prosesnya tidak jelas. Tapi berkelanjutan ini adalah sangat penting karena historical terus akan bisa kita dapatkan. A global awareness, a climate change intensive. The logistics sector is under increasing pressure to reduce its environmental footprint. Transportation, being a major contributor to greenhouse gas emission, must look toward sustainability solution. Jadi untuk kita berkelanjutan, kita juga memikirkan bagaimana terhadap ruang udara kita. Yang ketiga, the rise of e-commerce and last mile delivery information. Rekan-rekan Bapak Ibu yang saya banggakan, commerce has forever altered the landscape of logistik. Kira-kira di sini siapa yang nggak mempunyai aplikasi commerce? Semua pasti ada. Kalau kita tidak posisi silent, pasti bunyinya macam-macam Pak di sini. Ini tantangan kita, ya, bahwa kita harus lebih mampu, ya, melihat mungkin dari Kemenko Perekonomian jelas ini ya, tantangannya luar biasa. The demand for faster, more flexible, reliable delivery service has pushed companies to rethink last mile delivery. Tentunya narasumber kami dari Malaysia, Netherlands, dan Singapura, tentunya kita juga bisa berkolaborasi. Collaboration is good point for us, ya. How to last mile delivery, how can we tracking the e-commerce and delivery like some cargo logistic and so on and so on. Saya minta waktunya sedikit lagi. Dalam hal ini yang keempat adalah resilient and agile supply chains. Kita tahu ya, recent global event including the COVID-19 pandemic, a crisis in Ukraine, have taught us the critical importance of resiliency in logistics. Jadi, Bapak Ibu sekalian, bahwa data-driven strategy and technology like digital twins. Oleh karenanya, hal-hal yang harus kita lengkapi adalah sebagai suatu kunci untuk membangun supply chain yang lebih baik. Yang kelima, global collaboration and policy innovation. Kita sudah pada tahapan, kalau kita lihat is COVID condition, situ lihat lagi bahwa kita tidak sendiri. Jadi collaboration seorang aktor tidak akan bisa berperan bila tidak bisa berkolaborasi dengan aktor yang lain. Maka film itu tidak akan menjadi film yang terbaik. Oleh karenanya hari ini saya sekali lagi apresiasi sebesar-besarnya hari ini membuktikan kolaborasi yang diinisiasi oleh Institut Transport Logistik, hadir di sini para narasumber yang luar biasa dari country yang lain. Oleh karena at the same time the need for international cooperation in tackling the environmental impact of global logistic has never been clear. Dalam hal ini juga kita melihat bahwa ini shared like the European Green Deal and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are crucial framework to guide our collective efforts toward a more stable future. And the last one, but not least, human factor. We develop the technology, we develop the digitalization, but right now we think about the human factor. Sumber daya manusia juga bagaimana mereka menerima transformasi dengan baik. Oleh karena itu, selaku saya staf ahli logistik bidang multimoda perhubungan, kebetulan background saya juga sebagai seorang aviasi penerbangan, kita melihat bahwa mutlak bagi kita untuk membangun sumber daya manusia yang lebih memahami ke depan. Saya yakinlah dengan hari ini pun pertemuan-pertemuan ini menunjukkan bahwa Trisakti telah mempunyai konsep luar biasa dan saya yakin para dosen praktisi ini juga orang-orang yang masih aktif di beberapa instansi, tentunya mudah-mudahan bisa tersambung Pak. Ya. Dan tentunya kami sebagai government dan sama dengan Kemenko Perekonomian, Perhubungan sekarang juga punya namanya HubNet. Adik-adik saya silakan kalau memang mau melihat bagaimana proses logistik itu. Nanti silakan main ke kantor pusat atau mungkin ke beberapa pelabuhan. Bapak Ibu sekalian, yang saya banggakan sampailah saya pada slide terakhir next, bahwa Pak Menteri Perhubungan sangat memberikan arahan karena di 5 tahun ke depan kita akan melihat tantangan luar biasa. Bahwa shaping the future of transportation logistik, kita melihat bagaimana transportation is logistic industry is undergoing significant transportation, ya, driving by innovation. Dan tentunya as reflect of this transformative trend is clear that you are standing at the crossroad of change. The future transportation logistics is being shaped by innovation, sustainability, resiliency, and collaboration. It is up to all of us, as research, industry leaders, and policymakers to embrace this change and work together. Work together to build a future that is efficiency, sustainable, and inclusive. That's the last presentation and keynote. So, Pak Ibu sekalian dari Trisakti, keeplah memaintain hal ini. Kalau tidak salah November nanti pun akan mengundang tentang IATA dangerous goods. Ini menjadi concern kita ke depan. Tadi dari Kemenko Perekonomian bicara national logistik, ya impres sudah selesai, kita akan muncul kepada Perpres terbaru tentang sistem transportasi nasional logistik. Finally, thank you, and I look forward to the exciting ideas, innovation that we emerged from Grostlog_2024. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Cap Bandos. Please remain on the stage, and we would like to invite Bu Dr. Yulantini to give token of appreciation.
Ya, saya mau kasih pantun boleh?
Pak, sure.
Karena saya adik-adiknya masih running text-nya nggak ada tadi ya. Mau yang burung cenderawasih apa mau Desi Ratnasari? Televisi KSI?
Nah, perempuan burung.
Hah?
Cendrawasih, Pak.
Hah?
Cendrawasih.
Tadi? Oh iya. Apa maunya? Desi Ratnasari itu ya. Karena ini masih sedang musim panas. Ya. Desi Ratnasari menjemur pakaian. Terima kasih dan sekian.
Thank you very much. Okay. Cap Ganda, please, in the middle of the stage. Thank you. Patients, for those who join online, please turn your camera on. Everybody, please prepare your best pose. The first presentation will take the first photo sessions we will take from the front. Everybody, yeah. For the first photo session, we would invite everybody to stand up so we can see the crowd. The photographers, the cameramen are in front of you. We invite all ladies and gentlemen and guests to stand up for the first photo session. Are you ready? All right, so cameraman, are you ready? Okay.
1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. You may now sit it. For the next photo session, we would like to invite our distinguished guests to come forward. Dr. Atong Sukirman, Captain Yufridon Gandes Situmeang, our rector and vice rectors, all the distinguished speakers, our Senate, Dr. Asep Suparwan. Iya. Salah terus, maaf Pak. Suparwan. Don't worry, everybody, you will get your chance after this. Cap Gandos. Okay, next, please remain on the stage. We'd like to invite the representative of Trisakti University, the representative of Institut Pariwisata Trisakti, Sekolah Tinggi Manajemen Asuransi, Sekolah Tinggi Media Komunikasi, to come forward to have photo session. Bu Rector, Vice Rector, and distinguished guests, please remain on the stage. Yes, for the next photo session. For the next photo session, we invite the representatives of Trisakti University, Institut Pariwisata Trisakti, Trisakti School of Management, Sekolah Tinggi Media Komunikasi, Sekolah Tinggi Manajemen Asuransi. And our speakers too, please. Mr. Marco, Burita, Dr. Ato, Cap Gandos. Yes, Pak. Many photo session, Pak. Karena Bapak tadi pakai Desi Ratnasari. Please applause for our guests and speakers. Listening and then we will listen. The memorandum of understanding between ITF Sakti and the Indonesian Halal Logistics Association. I would like to invite Ibu Isti Yuniarti from Asosiasi Halal Logistics Indonesia. Ibu Dr. Yuliantini. agak. Thank you very much. Next, let's move on to our appreciation. We would like to give our appreciation to our sponsors. Let's invite to the stage Bapak Taufik MM, Vice President of Transportation Planning of PT Pelni. Bapak Hadi Purwanto, Vice President of PT KAI Logistics. Give applause, please. Ibu Nesi Simarmata from Bank Negara Indonesia. Please come to the stage. Dr. Sumino Eko Saputro, Bapak Abdullah Ade Suryo Buwono, SSIMT. We invite you to come to the stage. The token of appreciation will be delivered by Ibu Rector and Vice Rector. Give big applause for our sponsors. I would like to remind that there will be giveaways from sponsors for our activities. Yes, yes, ladies and gentlemen. Now we will begin our main session. Our speakers looks very excited to deliver their speech. So before that, I would like to introduce our moderator for this session, Ms. Riza Lestari, SSM Home. Ms. Riza Lestari is a lecturer at the Faculty of Management IPL Trisakti. She also teaches English and Indonesian at the Institute of International Languages, University of Indonesia. She completed her bachelor's and master's degree at University of Indonesia. He is a recipient of a Fulbright Foreign Language Teaching Assistant Scholarship at University of Hawaii at Manoa in 2007 and 2008. She has experience teaching Indonesian at the Pacific and Asian Studies Department, University of Victoria, Canada, 2008 until 2011. Her interests include teaching English for special purposes, teaching Indonesian for foreign speakers, and cultural studies. Ms. Riza, the stage is yours. Everybody, please welcome our moderator, Ms. Riza Lestari.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So my name is Riza, and I will be the moderator for panel session. First of all, I would like to take a moment to express my gratitude for this opportunity. It is an honor to be part of such an esteemed event surrounded by industry leaders and experts. Greetings to all distinguished guests, esteemed faculty members of ITL Trisakti, and the wonderful audience. The theme for the 8th Grostlog 2024 is Transformative Trends Shaping the Future of Transportation and Logistics Management. As we all know, the transportation and logistics industries are undergoing rapid change, driven by technological advancements, sustainability initiatives, shifting consumer expectations, and global disruptions. From automation and electric vehicles to AI-powered supply chains and green logistics, these transformations are redefining how goods are moved and managed. And today, we have an outstanding panel of experts who will share their insights on these key trends and how they're shaping the future. Everyone, please welcome our panel of experts, Dr. Robert De Souza, Dr. Rita Zahara Binti Wanci, Dr. Marco Tiaman, and Dr. Ahmad Muhyiddin Arifai. Welcome. Okay, first of all, let me start by introducing our esteemed panelists. So first we have Dr. Robert De Souza from the Department of Industrial System Engineering and Management Logistics Institute, Asia Pacific, National University of Singapore. His leadership roles have spanned global supply chain management companies and educational initiatives, making him a sought-after speaker and advisor at international logistics forums. And then we have Dr. Rita Zahara Binti Wancik, a senior lecturer from University Kuala Lumpur, Campus Cawangan, Malaysian Institute of Aviation Technology, Malaysia. As a respected researcher and academic with deep insights into the intersection of transportation policies and regional economic development, her work has significantly shaped perspectives on logistics challenges within Southeast Asia. Joining us as well is Dr. Marco Tiaman, the CEO of Logistics Building Blocks International, the Netherlands. An expert in halal supply chains and logistic management, Dr. Tiaman's research has brought forward solutions tailored to industries requiring specialized logistics, such as food and pharmaceuticals. And lastly, we are also honored to have Dr. Ahmad Muhyiddin Arifai, whose contributions focus on operational efficiency in transportation networks. Dr. Ahmad's expertise lies in optimizing logistics process for sustainable growth, which is a crucial theme in today's conversation on future trends. Once again, please give a warm welcome to all of our panelists today. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite each of our speakers to share their presentations. Just a gentle reminder, each presenter will have 20 minutes to present. And after all the speakers have presented, we will open the floor for questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, please hold your questions until then. Now let's begin with our first speaker, Dr. Robert Souza. So we look forward to your insights about sustainable practices in humanitarian logistics. Please, time is yours.
Good morning. So Rector and friends, I think there are so many friends here that I will not name you all by name, but I will catch up with you for a good lunch. Yeah. So thank you for the opportunity. I am most honored to be here again. The last time I was here was exactly about a year back at the 7th Grostlog. Relevant area to you, and that is humanitarian logistics. Now, there's a lot of slides, so I'm not going, and I don't have any means to control them, so I feel constrained here, because for those who know me, I don't stand in one place and make a presentation. So bear with me, and I don't know who's controlling the slides, but let me start. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sustainability in humanitarian logistics. Yeah. So next slide, please. Who's ever controlling my slides? Okay. So that's me. Next slide, please. Now, if I turn to this area, and this is an area that's very, very relevant in the commercial field, but not so relevant or not so adapted in the humanitarian field. And we really need to understand why that is so. So when I look at sustainability here, it is actually multiple areas of sustainability. So whether it's environmental, or whether it's in social, or whether it's in governance, it actually makes a difference to any field. Next, please. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit specifically about the humanitarian field. Now, the humanitarian logistics field is very unique and very important field to us, especially in a country like Indonesia. For us, it's actually a field that's moving right from supply right to demand. And the points of demand is uncertain. So we need to move goods rapidly. We need to move goods securely, and we need to move goods to destinations that are not yet defined. Next, please. Now, when I look at this supply chain, and this supply chain could be applicable to any area, but we are going to indicate these areas in the humanitarian context. So first of all, we have suppliers. And the suppliers will actually transition through a logistics stage, all the way going down to the demand stage, or the beneficiaries in this case. Now, it's a very unique scenario. And if you look at the slides, at every stage of the supply chain, there are potential opportunities and vulnerabilities. There is an opportunity to incorporate sustainability, and there is a challenge with doing so, especially in the context of humanitarian logistics, because the most important thing is actually speed. Speed from supply right to the beneficiaries. But something else, and my good friend Pakatong actually mentioned this, it is to keep the cost low. But we must not only look at keeping the cost low, because in the context of humanitarian supply chains, we are also trying to save lives. So this is a very unique circumstance. Next, please. Now, when we look at the supply chain by itself here, we actually see there are multiple areas. I'm only going to have the opportunity to talk to you about a few of these areas, and these areas are at the bottom of the screen here, and you'll see these areas are very applicable to supply chains in general, but more so in the context of humanitarian. So when we look at it, the first thing that we want to do is increase local sourcing. Why do we want to increase local sourcing? Because local sourcing helps recovery in a humanitarian situation. Local sourcing also means it's a faster lead time to the beneficiaries. Local sourcing also means that it is culturally sensitive to the environment in which it's being delivered. We also can turn to sustainable supplier collaboration and technology innovation. As a university and as a researcher and heading up a research institute in Singapore, most of our time is not spent in the first three, but is spent in the development of technological innovations. I will go amiss if I do not mention artificial intelligence, and I will show you where this will apply. Next, please. Now, when we start to looking at these areas here, we'll actually see, if we start on that side of the screen, we'll actually see there's needs assessment. Needs assessment is basically done in order to determine the needs of the beneficiaries after the impact of a disaster. It is very important for us to be able to do this very rapidly. This incorporates a lot of potential technology that can be brought to bear on the problem, especially learning. If we can learn from the past to predict and anticipate the future, and this is very key for us. It's never been done before. The next thing is actually to go through and understand how we can move goods through transportation and warehousing to where it's required. Again, in a humanitarian context, infrastructure is compromised. And therefore, what can we learn very fast in getting to the needs, so getting the needs to the market being the beneficiaries in the fastest time available, okay? So this is a diagram that you can play with and you can actually see it, and there are concerns at every stage, as well as opportunities. Next, please. For any of you who want to read about this, we have a book in this area. It's published by Springer, and if you really want to delve deeper into this, please access the book. Don't buy it, yeah? Now, next, let me delve deeper into some of these areas. Like, for example, in the area of environmental impacts, we are particularly concerned about the carbon footprint of delivery. And we are also particularly concerned about the generation of waste, because the generation of waste is actually caused by the lack of determination of needs. Now, when we actually bring things to the end point, we also have to be acutely aware that we have to bring them back. Next, please. So in the oh, my slides disappeared. Okay, I was looking there, now I have to look here, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm gonna have to turn my face here from the mic here. So in the context of the humanitarian logistics, we essentially want to be able to use renewable resources. And we also particularly, I'll just put this mic down. Thank you. I think so. Okay. And we also particularly want to be able to reduce the emissions. Yeah. Now, if I go to the next slide, and I'm going very rapidly for you to give you time to question us later. When we look at, I think we have to go to the next slide, yeah. Okay, so when we look particularly at environment, I discussed that. We now turn to economics and social. There is a very high cost of unsustainable practices. Now, bear in mind that if we can save costs or lower cost in the context of humanitarian logistics, that cost that is saved can go to fund more beneficiaries. And that is very key to us. So it's not just a question of wanting to lower cost. It's a question of what do we do with that cost that's saved in order for us to improve the system. The second thing is that we want to be doing is to look at the impact on the local communities. Because like I told you earlier, with local sourcing, it really helps the redevelopment of an impacted community. Yeah. So next, please. So there are particular frameworks that we can engage, and these frameworks are very essential and well documented. Okay. Now, in this particular framework that's mentioned in our book, you can actually take an integrated view. But most importantly, I want to show you on that side of the screen, it is a whole of care approach. That means all stakeholders in the supply chain should come together in order to aid recovery. The second most important part here is that the more we can do sustainably to restore infrastructure and give an idea of normalcy, the faster the recovery process is. And this is well established. Next slide, please. So you'll see here very actively, and these are words that are being used again and again, we want to reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is much easier said than done. And we want to be able to incorporate renewable strategy. But today we are at Grostlog, and we are actually discussing transportation in the main. Optimization of transportation and storage within the context of humanitarian logistics is very prime. And so what we want to do is determine the locations of stockpiles, determine the locations of those stockpiles to reach impacted areas ahead of disasters. And this is not as easy as it sounds, because the whole idea of holding a stockpile is contrary to efficient practices within the supply chain, because it means you are storing things that may never be required by goodwill. Yeah. So if we are storing goods, it is not always a good thing in a commercial supply chain, because we are faced with obsolescence and we are faced with stock that may no longer be required. So we build tools, and I told you our emphasis as researchers is on tools. May I have the next slide, please? So our emphasis is on tools, and I don't know who's ever controlling the slides. You can click on those things and you can see we have particular technology here, and these technologies are actually visualization technologies that can actually play forward a scenario and accelerate that scenario in time. The second one, if you can click for me, please. You can click on the second screen. Can somebody click on this? Yes, thank you. Oh, no, please go back. Please go back one slide. Yeah, and you can click on the second screen there. Yes, thank you. And here you'll actually see another form of technology that's actually very basic visualization. It's not what we researchers do. We do a lot more complex work than this, but the complexity is not what's required always in a scenario like humanitarian. So here you can actually see scenarios played out, and we can actually determine the needs assessment well in advance of any potential disaster. Now, having said that, one of the areas that we need to do is actually educate. As a university, we have to create awareness and awareness across the stakeholder space in order to make folks aware of supply chain context. Next slide, please. And so we built serious games too. And here you can actually see one of those games that, oops, he's gone too fast. Yes, stay on that. And just click the button for me. Thank you. You can see here, this is a game that is very actively, and it's won so many awards around the world. Yeah, we have written up about this game, but right now we have adapted 7 games from this. These games are serious games that have a serious supply chain message based on the context of particular disasters. So students love these games. They've been played in many, many countries. We are not a games company. We want to be serious about the supply chain message, and we use messaging in the game to actually conduct a very serious exercise. Be it a volcano, an earthquake, or be it wind, or be it water. We can adapt the scenarios to what it's required. Yep. If I may go to the next slide, please, in the interest of time. So let me do a quick recap. The quick recap is that what we are seeing here is that, if we can go to the next slide, please. I think you all know about Indonesia already. Yeah. Sustainability is not new. We talk about it like it is new, but it is not new. The new thing about sustainability is the technology that we have in order to address the issues readily and bring them to the fore. We know that the human actions have always had an impact on the environment. And we know that the connectivity between countries and people and processes will actually make this worse. Yeah. So in conclusion, next, please. So in conclusion, we have a lot to do. We have embarked on this journey as researchers. I share these quick points with you in a very complex arena. I want you to be aware of what humanitarian logistics innovations and how we can bring such messages to the community at large. Yeah. So the problem is challenging. Transport solutions remain a concern. About, for example, supplying shelter items like tents. Once the disaster is mitigated, you have to dispose of that tent material, and you have to bring certain items like ventilators, for example, back. They are costly items. They have to be stored. They have to be maintained. Yeah. So the idea of waste management is very essential, and it's being studied at great depth. The problem being is that we do not know where the next disaster is going to occur. We wish it never does. So in conclusion, in my last slide here, conclusion, thank you. Next slide, please. Work with us as we are doing with you. I really have been in Indonesia more times this year than I've been at home. And I think I welcome the friendships that we have. And I think we grow those across the country. And I think we grow that learning, and we share that learning with the rest of the world. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I like to be on time, so I'm 1 minute ahead of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. D'Souza, for those insightful remarks. Okay. on humanitarian logistics. So it is extremely important, yeah, in places prone to natural disasters, including Indonesia, of course. And as you said, the challenges are making sure that not only making sure that it is sustainable, but also making sure that it is rapid and saving lives. Okay, next I'd like to invite Dr. Rita Zahara binti Wancik to share her presentation. Dr. Rita will talk about IT innovations propelling air transport and logistics into the future. Time is yours.
Honorable guests, the ever generous host ITL Trisakti, Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu, dosen-dosen, all the learned conference presenters and participants and students. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning to all. Thank you for having me again here. It's always good to be back here in Jakarta, in Indonesia. I always love to come back here. All right, so for today, I will be sharing with everyone more on the technologies that is being adapted, implemented in not just in logistics and transport industries, in almost every other industries as well. But with 20 minutes given, not all technologies we can discuss here. So I will be choosing some of the ones that are going to be quite important. So the topic of my speech today is IT innovations, propelling air transport and logistics into the future. Next slide, please. Okay. So in general, as we know, the air transport and logistics industry is experiencing a profound transformation driven by advancements in information technology. So innovations such as Internet of Things, as we have heard, artificial intelligence, which is we are hearing it almost every day today, and also blockchain are enhancing operational efficiency by streamlining processes and enabling real-time data analysis. These technologies not only reduce operational costs through optimized resource allocation, but also contribute to sustainability efforts by minimizing waste and energy consumption. So as global trade evolves, IT innovations are becoming crucial in meeting the increasing demands for faster, more reliable and environmentally friendly air transportation services. So for today, we will be discussing more on IoT, AI, blockchain, and also cybersecurity in the air transport and logistics. Next, please. Right. As a general, Internet of Things, IoT, is a network of physical objects that are connected to the internet and can exchange data with other devices and systems. So IoT devices use sensors to collect data and can sometimes act on the data itself. So the cost of integrating computing power into small objects has dropped considerably now, and there are now billions of devices connected to the internet. So this real-time data collected from IoT devices allows for proactive issue resolution, reducing delays and improving service quality. For example, airlines now can utilize this IoT data to optimize logistics operations, to enhance inventory management, and to improve overall supply chain efficiency. Next, please. Other than that, IoT is also used for real-time tracking and monitoring in air cargo management. The implementation of IoT in air cargo has significantly improved the ability to track and monitor shipments in real time. Sensors monitor critical parameters such as temperature, humidity, and shock to ensure that sensitive goods are transported under optimal conditions. Advanced IoT-based tracking solutions provide real-time information on the location and condition of sensitive shipments, such as pharmaceuticals and produce. So to ensure that valuable medical supplies and cold meat maintain their efficacy throughout the transportation process. Also, in aircraft maintenance management, IoT technologies are also transforming this MRO, we call it, through predictive analysis. By collecting and analyzing data from various sensors on aircraft components, airlines can anticipate potential failures before they occur, thus optimizing maintenance schedules and minimizing downtime. For example, Airbus has developed its Skywise open data platform, which uses IoT sensors and big data analytics to predict maintenance needs and optimize aircraft performance. Next, please. So the next technology we will discuss is on the artificial intelligence and machine learning. So as an overview, artificial intelligence is a set of technologies that enable computers to perform a variety of advanced functions, including the ability to see, understand, and translate spoken and written language. So I think everyone now is using ChatGPT and the likes. Yeah. So they are able to understand what we say now. Yeah. And AI is used mostly for analyzing data and make recommendations. As part of artificial intelligence, machine learning is a subset of AI that automatically enables a machine or system to learn and improve from experience. So with these two technologies, through research, we have found these 5 parts that I'm going to discuss today, which is on route optimization, demand forecasting, capacity planning, customer service, and real-time responses. Next, please. So in demand forecasting and capacity planning in air cargo, AI systems analyze vast amounts of historical data, market trends, and external factors to predict demand fluctuations with unprecedented accuracy. This allows air cargo companies to adjust their capacity and pricing strategies in real time, maximizing revenue and improving resource allocation. So this allows the power of machine learning in demand forecasting has been highlighted in the IATA World Cargo Symposium, where it was reported that a carrier, an airline, was able to improve its forecasting error rate from 20% to 14% immediately upon implementing machine learning techniques. So that's quite a huge transformation. So this improvement continued to accelerate over time as more data was fed into the system. In AI is also being used now in supply chain, which AI systems can analyze real-time data to quickly identify and respond to supply chain issues, thus minimizing disruption and maintaining operational efficiencies. In customer service and documentation in airlines, advanced AI-powered chatbots can now suggest alternative options to customer requests and also tailored based on past information. So this not only improves customer satisfaction, but can also help boost revenues for the airlines. So AI and machine learning are being used to streamline documentation processes, auto-filling much of the documentation associated with air freight, and thereby creating efficiencies and reducing errors. Next, please. For route optimization in airlines, AI algorithms analyze various factors, including weather, air traffic, and fuel consumption to suggest optimal flight paths, significantly reducing flight times and emissions. For example, Alaska Airlines implemented the Flyway software, an AI system that processes vast amount of data to suggest optimal routes, transforming the dispatching process and allowing dispatchers to focus on strategic planning. As a result, this airline has achieved significant time savings with an average reduction of 2.7 minutes per flight, leading to the avoidance of more than 6 metric tons of carbon dioxide emissions. Another example is the Swiss International Airlines that reported saving more than 5 million US dollars in a single year by optimizing about 50% of their flights using AI technologies. Another example, Lufthansa uses AI analysis to efficiently switch planes based on customer demands, deploying smaller aircraft for flights with lower demand to save on fuel, and also for maintenance costs and air traffic control fees. In terms of capacity and revenue management in airlines, AI and machine learning are proving invaluable in this area. In one notable case, an airline utilized machine learning to more accurately predicting no-shows and underweight cargo. So this allowed the airline to implement more effective overbooking strategies, resulting in a significant 8% improvement in cargo load factor. Next, please. Right, the third technology that I will discuss here is on the blockchain technology for a secure and transparent air cargo operations. So blockchain technology is addressing long-standing challenges in air cargo logistics by enhancing supply chain visibility and transparency. By creating an immutable decentralized ledger of all transactions and movements, blockchain provides a single source of truth for all stakeholders in the logistics chain. The IATA has developed a blockchain-based platform called One Record, which aims to create a single record view of air cargo shipments. This system allows all stakeholders in the supply chain to access and update shipment information in real time, improving coordination and reducing inefficiencies. So real-time access to shipment data expedites border processing times, reducing paperwork. For example, there's a blockchain-based CargoX platform in Egypt, digitizes custom processes and streamlines the custom clearance process for air and sea freight, cutting clearance time significantly from several days to few hours. Next, please. The next technology that we are going to discuss is on the cybersecurity in air transportation. So cybersecurity is crucial in air transportation to protect sensitive data, ensuring passenger safety and maintain operational integrity against cyber threats. The industry is investing in advanced cybersecurity measures, including AI-powered threat detection systems and secure cloud infrastructures. So the air cargo industry is increasingly adopting these advanced cybersecurity measures to protect against evolving threats. Major airports have implemented AI-powered cybersecurity systems that analyze network traffic in real time to detect and prevent potential cyber attacks. The compliance with international cybersecurity standards, such as those set by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, it is essential for airlines and airports to mitigate risks and enhance security protocol. These strategies emphasizes the importance of international cooperation, information sharing, and the development of cybersecurity standards and best practices. So technology advancements like biometric screening and secure cloud infrastructures are being deployed to bolster security and improve efficiency at airports. The benefits of this technological upgrade include increased efficiency, improved passenger experience, and enhanced security. Next, please. So what we have talked just now, we can see there were a lot of opportunities offered by technologies. Yeah, so the increased efficiency through automation and real-time data analysis can lead to reduced operational costs, enhance customer experience due to improved tracking and predictive services, fostering loyalty and repeat business. Opportunities for new revenue streams as digital platforms enable innovative service offerings and market access. And collaboration across the supply chain can lead to better resource utilization and optimized logistics process. However, in the adoption of technologies, and not just the ones that I mentioned here, but any other technologies, there will be challenges, especially in terms of the high initial investments that are required for this adoption, which can be a barrier for smaller companies. Data privacy and security concerns will arise with the increased use of digital technologies and data sharing. And there is a need for workforce reskilling to adapt to new technologies, creating a potential skills gap in the industry. So regulatory challenges may slow down the implementation of these technologies and hinder innovation. But technologies is here, will stay and will be even better. We should always embrace technology, yeah, which can help better our processes and operations. So the next will be my last slide, which is the conclusion. So as a conclusion, next slide, please. So IT innovations are revolutionizing air transport and logistics, paving the way for enhanced efficiency and sustainability. The integration of IoT, AI, blockchain, and cybersecurity has transformed air logistics operations by improving tracking, optimizing routes, and enhancing supply chain transparency. These innovations drive operational efficiencies and enable better resource management. So moving forward, the industry must invest in technology, foster collaboration, and reskill the workforce to fully leverage these advancements and meet evolving global trade demands. The increasing requirements to drive efficiency, transparency, and minimize friction make embracing these technologies crucial. So, however, successful innovation requires discipline, a culture open to change, and a willingness to take calculated risk. So with that, I think I would end my presentation. Maybe we would have questions later. Okay, later. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a warm of applause for Dr. Rita for that fascinating presentation on utilizing IoT, AI, blockchain, cybersecurity in air, cargo, airlines, and supply chain. And despite the challenges, these technology may bring some benefits, including increased efficiency, enhanced customer experience, and new revenues opportunity. Thank you very much again. Now let's welcome Dr. Marco Tiemann, an expert. I'm sorry, did I pronounce it correctly? Okay, an expert in halal supply chain management, who will share about the future of halal logistics. Time is yours. Thank you. Please welcome Dr. Marco.
Selamat pagi. Sorry, I didn't hear it well. My ears. Selamat pagi. All right. A very good morning to everybody. I would like to first of all thank Trisakti for inviting me. Dr. Giuliantini, thank you for inviting me. Also, esteemed professors, doctors, esteemed students, of course. The future generation is all here. The future of logistics. A big applause for yourself. So my name is Marco Tiemann, originally from the Netherlands, and I've been working in the field of halal logistics supply chain since 2006, so quite some time. So I would like to share with you more insights on the future of halal logistics. But before I start, I would like to do a small survey. So for any of you who prefers halal food, can you raise your hand? Any of you who prefers to eat halal food, can you raise your hand? Saya mau makan halal. So, exactly. So it's the majority, right? All right. So the majority of here wants to eat halal food. So that is very good news because today is an important day. 17 October 2024 is the day that makanan halal is mandatory halal certified in Indonesia, the first country in the world to make that happen. But not only food produksi, also logistics, right? So that's important. And Indonesia is also the first country that make halal logistics mandatory by law since today for food. For cosmetics, 2 years down the road, and also pharmaceuticals after 2026. Next slide. So Indonesia is sending an important signal out to the world, is taking a leadership position. You should be very well aware of. Halal is not static. It's going through an evolution from originally the Muslim-owned company towards a halal product, and now halal supply chain. The future is the halal value chain. This is supported through regulation, like in Indonesia, mandatory halal supply chain. Also through standards. So there is an Indonesian halal standard. Currently, Indonesia is working on the halal supply chain, halal logistics guidelines. Malaysia has already longer, since 2010, a halal supply chain management system standard. Yeah. So on the one hand, we see that halal is moving towards supply chain and value chain. On the other hand, we have the Muslim consumer needs and wants that are escalating and fast-tracking things. I thought when I developed this model around 2008, 2009, people thought I was crazy, right? I thought that the halal value chain would take another 10, 15 years. I was wrong. What happened recently with the Palestine and Israel issues? The Muslim consumer said, I don't care if you carry the halal Indonesian halal logo or the Malaysian halal logo, but your actions, your reputation, your doings are not according to Sharia requirement, are not in line with the halal philosophy. We will boycott your product. Although it was certified by the Indonesian Halal Authority or the Malaysian Halal Authority, it was not good enough. We want to see brands, right, that embrace the Islamic values, right? So we see now that evolution of halal, which I thought the halal value chain will be another 15 years from now, is being fast-tracked. The Muslim consumer demands brands operating in OIC countries to also respect Islamic values, create a halal DNA. In other words, the end goal for companies active in the OIC, in Muslim majority countries, not just to get halal certified. No, the ambition level should be creating a solid halal reputation, creating halal DNA. So that is important. So next slide. So I did my PhD on halal supply chain management. I started my PhD in 2006. People thought I was crazy. What are you doing? Research on halal supply chain. Now they think I'm visionary those days, right? So what is a halal supply chain? When we talk about halal supply chain management, as I defined in my work, is the management of a halal network with the goal to extend the halal integrity from the source, the beginning of the supply chain, until the end of the supply chain. Some people talk about farm to fork. If you're one of my students and put that on your exam paper, you get 0 points. It's from source, the beginning of the supply chain, until the end of the supply chain. The fork suggests when you're eating, right? The responsibility of the brand owner doesn't go that far, right? So it starts at the source, can be the farm, can be before the farm, can be after the farm. And then what is the end of the supply chain? When you're sitting in the restaurant, it is when you're in the restaurant. When you go to the supermarket, the point of consumer purchase is at the supermarket itself, where you pay for the goods. When you order online your product, right, the point of consumer purchase is at the doorstep, where that guy from that motorbike with that box at the end gives you the product at your doorstep. Then it is your doorstep. So farm to fork is not an accurate terminology for the halal supply chain. So in a halal supply chain, the supply chain is complex. So if we want to give the assurance that the product is halal, and I just checked with you, all of you, and most of you wanted to prefer halal food. So if you want to have the preference that the product is halal at the point of consumer purchase, the halal integrity is a function of the entire supply chain, right? So it is as halal as it is a function of every activity in the supply chain. So every activity in the supply chain should be following halal protocols. Not only the manufacturer, but everybody, the logistics service provider, the distributor, the supermarket, including also the sea freight and air freight. So everybody in supply chain has an important responsibility. Next slide. So halal logistics, where are the opportunities? Dr. Atong, in his speech, he talked about 1PL, 2PL, 3PL. There, where Indonesia is, there are opportunities certainly in halal transport, halal warehouse, but also halal compliant terminal like the seaport, airport operation, but also in third-party logistics. So Indonesia could develop a regional distribution center here. So we bring product dari China, bring from China to Indonesia, do repackaging, and then export from Indonesia to all over the world. We can bring product from Vietnam, cashew nuts of coffee from Vietnam, bring to Indonesia, repackaging, and then send it all over to the world. So these are regional distribution center operating where you can do value adding. Singapore is a good example. They are doing that with Indonesian product and Malaysian products. These are products from Malaysia, Indonesia. They repack it. There's a product from Singapore, right? The same Indonesia should do for halal, for their own product, but also product outside Indonesia. Also, halal supply chain management. So big branded owners. I'm advisor to big food and big cosmetics multinational companies in the world. We help on their supply chain assessment and halal supply chain design. Those brand owners want to make sure that halal integrity is protected throughout their supply chain. We need a new level of logistics service providers. They call that 4PL, fourth-party logistics service providers that can manage end-to-end halal supply chain. These are independent, don't have their own warehouses. They will select the right logistics service providers, and they have the halal protocols in place. Yeah, and those logistics service providers that will do physical warehouse and storage will follow the protocols of that 4PL, the Halal Supply Chain Control Tower. Yeah. So there are opportunities beyond the halal warehouse and halal transport. Traditional storage and transportation are low margin activities. You don't make much money there. The margins, the profit margins are much higher in the halal regional distribution center, halal 3PL, and halal supply chain control tower. The margins are far bigger there. The guy like the DHL, those guys are making very good money. Don't only just do the storage and the transportation. The money is out there on those lighter green colors. Next slide. Sorry, can you go back? There's one slide back. So what is important that we need to become equal partners. We need to become equal partners to brand owners at the equal level playing field to take over the responsibility of halal. And we have to make sure that although technology is important, it should be halal by design. Next slide. So we need to create a solid halal assurance system. Next slide. So we need to create a solid halal assurance system for logistics service providers to make sure that there's properly secured the halal integrity in the operation. So there are both local and international standards. So the Indonesian government certifies for the local halal logistics operations according to the Indonesian halal standard. So the local halal standard is important for storage and transportation within Indonesia, right? We also have airlines and shipping lines that are penneling continuously to other countries. For those, also the international standard is very important. And for companies that have regional distribution centers or 3PL, they need to understand both the local and the international halal standard. Next slide. So I talk about the international standard. So what is the international standard? So I am part of the OIC SMIC. So I'm part of the technical committee in the OIC SMIC in Turkey, and they are in charge of harmonizing international halal standards. So the standard in the technical committee, TC10, is the OIC SMIC standard 17. OIC SMIC standard 17 is a halal supply chain management system standard, an international standard. It has 3 modules currently: transportation, warehousing, and retailing. They are working currently on the ports module, which I expect to have on my desk when I'm back in Malaysia. So they're now finalizing that. These 3 modules, 1, 2, and 3, they are based on the Malaysian halal supply chain standard. So they are 90%, 99% the same as the Malaysian halal supply chain standards. Next slide. So what are the current issues in halal logistics? So what we see that there are different halal control points and also different halal logistics practices within the supply chain. With different logistics service providers, they have their own protocols in place for halal logistics. So the result is that we have unstable halal supply chains, but also an unpredictable halal supply chain performance. So this is one of the main issues. We have different halal logistics practices, different halal logistics, halal control points in the logistics operation. So we see different practices, which is creating unstable halal supply chains and unpredictable halal integrity performance. Problem number 1. Secondly, we see there's a lack of adoption of the international halal supply chain standard. So we see that OIC countries are contributing to the international halal standards in OIC SMIC, but they're not very keen to adopt the OIC SMIC standards. They still want to create their own local halal standard, including logistics. The implication of this is that it will become more complex halal supply chains, because if I'm exporting to Malaysia from Indonesia, you have to follow the Malaysian requirements. If you want to export to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you have to follow the Saudi requirements. If you want to export to Brunei, you have to follow the Brunei halal requirements. If you want to export to Turkey, you have to follow the Turkey's halal requirements. So we see that halal supply chains are complex because you have to follow, including also the halal logistics requirements for the destination market, which is different. So it's important that companies and countries also need to look at the international halal standard, and countries like Indonesia also should look at adopting the OSC SMIC standard. So if you're adopting that, it makes also business easier for your country. Finally, we have sea freight and air freight. Indonesia have about 17,000 plus islands, depending on low tide, high tide. I'm not sure exactly. So any supply chain technically in Indonesia has sea freight and air freight component. And so it's a little bit difficult to understand that today, sea freight and air freight, I understand, is not part of the regulation. It has been delayed. So this is, I think, an important gap in the halal supply chain today, also endangering the halal integrity of supply chains. Dr. Rita talked about also air freight, IATA. So IATA, for example, does not have a halal code. So they have a classification for dangerous goods and pharmaceuticals, but not for halal. The same with IMO for sea freight. There's a dangerous goods classification, but not halal classification. Customs also doesn't classify halal. So we do not identify halal in international trade. So that is important to address. Next slide. So what are some emerging developments which you should be aware of? Next slide. Excuse me. Next slide. All right. So some important developments, I think, which you should note are halal ecosystem development. So I was part of the Islamic development and the research group to research halal ecosystems in the world. And we see that Muslim majority countries, OIC countries, want to strengthen their Islamic economy. They want to play a bigger role in the halal value chain of food, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, which are currently dominated by non-Muslim countries. And so the bigger players in halal foods, halal cosmetics, and halal pharmaceuticals, these are not Muslim countries, they are non-Muslim countries. So Muslim countries need to play a bigger role. So we need to develop more advanced halal ecosystem that make that happen. Next slide. So I've been working on the concept of Halal Park 2.0. This is a new level of ecosystem, similar to Silicon Valley in the US. If you want to be successful in IT, you go to Silicon Valley in the US. If you want to be successful in halal, you need to be part of an halal ecosystem according to the principles of Halal Park 2.0. And Halal Park 2.0 is an halal industrial zone with incentives also from the government, also addressing the development of an ecosystem, a cluster, addressing halal supply chain, addressing sustainability, very important. So when I talk about sustainability, it's important also to look at the Sharia. So there are also a lot of guidance from the Sharia on sustainability. So to look at, in my book, Halal Business Management, I talk about the topic of economies of change, where we looking at ecological fitting supply chains that needs to come together in halal ecosystem. More on that later, and there are some questions. Finally, Islamic finance and Waqaf. So also Islamic finance should play a big role in halal ecosystem, which currently is often separated. Next slide. I'm the project director of Modern Halal Valley in Banten, Chikande, which is one of the halal ecosystem developments. We did the master plan and have been involved in the implementation as well. So this is 500 hectares in size, covering food, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, and logistics as well. Next slide. So another development is the halal blockchains. Dr. Rita talked about the blockchain. She's much more blockchain expert than I am. So I was a speaker last week at the Halal 20 organized by BPAPH. And there was a lot of talk on the need for blockchain technology for halal traceability. So there's a lot of pressure, I feel, among halal certification bodies that there's a need for blockchain technology for halal supply chains. I don't mind blockchain technology. It has benefits. On the other hand, we have to be careful to avoid creating unnecessary hardship for the industry. I'm of the opinion that it should be halal by design and not by traceability. So traceability can support, but the basis should be halal by design. This was my presentation. Terima kasih banyak. May peace be on you.
Thank you, Dr. Timan. So that's like very thought-provoking how Muslim customer needs not only, it has developed from the need for halal product to the need for halal logistics. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. So last but not least, now we have Dr. Ahmad Muhyiddin Arifai, whose expertise lies in transportation network optimization, and he will share about enhancing port efficiency, machine learning application in operations. Time is yours. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good morning, everyone. How are you today? Okay. Actually, I'm about to present that I believe this is actually Dr. Rita expertise in this field about the machine learning application in a port in order to make the port operation more efficient. All right. Before I continue my presentation, I would like to know how many of you had already familiar with machine learning? Anyone? Please raise your hand that already familiar with machine learning. All right, seems no one. Wait. All right. I need you all to imagine a giant cargo ship arrive at a port, and that ship filled with thousands of containers. Every minute it waits to unload. It costs money. But unfortunately, the port is congested. The trucks are stuck. The cargo pile ups, and everyone's gambling. And in this situation, the question is, what could we do? What if we could predict these delays in advance and adjust everything automatically? Can we? And then there will be no more scrambling and just smooth operation in seaport. And actually, this is what a machine learning can do. And today, we will explore how ports, especially in Indonesia, are adopting this technology to transform its operation. All right. Port operation actually essential, and port is actually essential in global trade, handling around 90% of world commerce. They do more than just load and unloading cargo. So port is not just a place that cargo is being loaded and unloaded. They also connect industries, cities, and countries through complex logistic network. But there are also major challenges. The first one is the limited space. As we know that mostly ports are placed in the city, so it's really hard to get expand. And then also the second one is there is a complex operation managing schedule, like the cargo and traffic is actually tricky. And the last but not least is human decision. Traditional decisions rely on human intuition, limiting efficiency in port operation. And that's why some of the port had already have a transition to what's so-called smart port. The concept of smart port emerged from the necessity to address physical constraints and also enhance efficiency and reduce operational costs. The SIF integrates advanced technology, including IoT for the real-time monitoring, big data analytics, artificial intelligence, including machine learning that we are talking about, blockchain and robotic. And this technology actually not only support automation, but also provide data-driven insight for improved decision-making. Now we're talking about the machine learning. For any one of you that had been not already familiar with the machine learning, maybe let me use simple analogy like training a pet, or you may have like a cat or a dog in your house. The training process for a pet is actually similar with what we do in machine learning. At first you need teaching process. So each time, for example, each time you say sit to the dog, and then the dog obeys, and you give it a treat. In also in machine learning, you also provide a lot of data to the machine, so they will understand something. And for example, in port application, we provide like data, for example, like ship schedule and weather condition. And also the next step is about the training or repetition. Just like a cat, maybe they will take times to learn something to be able to follow your instruction. The same goes with machine learning. Machine learning system learns through trial and error. Each time the system make a mistake, it will improve its prediction. And after some kind of process, there will be testing or prediction. Like your cat, maybe they will sit without needing a treat. Similarly, a machine learning model learns to predict things like when cargo congestion will happen. And the last one, with more training, the machine learning system will improve over time with new data. In this slide, I want to talk about the role of machine learning in ports. Machine learning offers a powerful tool to handle complex data within ports. Ports process vast amount of information related to ship schedule, cargo movement, and also logistic coordination. Machine learning excels in several things like pattern recognition. Machine learning can detect trends in port traffic and cargo flow, and also predictive analysis, anticipating cargo surge, ship arrivals, and also bottlenecks. And also machine learning can be used to do the real-time optimization by automating operational decisions to improve throughput. Now, let's move into a case study. I will take a research about the Indonesian ports. The background was Indonesia has more than 17,000 of islands and faces serious logistical challenges. Many smaller ports experience delays, accidents, and poor cargo movement due to manual decision making. So in this study, they have input, process, and also output for the machine learning. The input process was using historical ship arrival, using weather data, accidents, and also cargo flow. The machine learning process, by using clustering model, they group ports by similar characteristic. Why do we need to group the ports into groups? The reason is similar ports can use the same strategies, saving time and improving result. And also in this study, they use predictive analysis to forecast cargo flow and identify high-risk situation. And the last one, they also make a simulation tool to help create it optimized docking schedule. This is the map of around 566 small port in Indonesia, and they have 3 group and 3 cluster. This is the result of the output of the machine learning algorithm using KNN algorithm. All right. The machine learning also benefit in many parts around the world. Machine learning brings several clear benefits like the predictive analytics, autonomous operation, and also cost saving. That's also the most important. And in this slide, you can see that many ports in the world use predictive analytics for forecasting containers through throughput and truck demand, allowing operation to plan better. It's already implemented in Shanghai by effectively using what's so-called a long short-term memory or LSTM. And the second one, this is also the successful application of machine learning. It implemented in Ningbo Port, China. They adopted deep queue learning models to optimize stock planning, reducing operation times effectively. The good news for us as academia, we have some opportunity for the research, like real-time risk monitoring, AI or machine learning can detect accident and prevent risk before they happen. And also implementing what's so-called green ports. Machine learning can optimize energy use to reduce emission and support sustainability, and also data sharing with blockchains. Port can securely share data across network to enhance collaboration. And actually many things that we can do to improve the efficiency of the port operation. In summary, I would like to say that ports are becoming smarter, more efficient, and safer due to the application of the machine learning. The case study from Indonesia shows how even smaller ports can benefit by improving schedule and predicting risks. The future of ports operation lies in automation, prediction, and collaboration. If we embrace this technology, our ports will become more sustainable and efficient, ready to meet the challenges of tomorrow. I think that's all from me. Thank you for having me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad. So it's quite similar to the presentation from Dr. Rita, but it's for ports, yeah? All right, so thank you all for our speakers for these enlightening presentations. We will now move on to the question and answer session. So everyone, please feel free to ask your questions by raising your hand or type if you're joining this conference online. And there will be vouchers from BNI, ITLA, Shortcut Barbershop, and Cybership Salon. When you ask your question, kindly introduce yourself by sharing your name and let us know which speaker your question is directed to. So please, who?
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yang terhormat Bapak Ibu dosen, yang terhormat para finalis dan teman-teman mahasiswa ITL. Okay, first of all, I want to say thank you for opportunity. And my name Ahmad Zainal Abidin. I'm a postgraduate student. And second, thank you for Professor Marco. Yeah, thank you for your country because I'm working in the Netherlands company. Yeah, around 28 years. Yeah, until now. My question to Professor Robert de Souza. What is the location strategy to achieve sustainability logistics, considering that currently world conditions are not conducive and do the wars in the several countries? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
If you could elaborate on your question, you have two questions in one. You asking essentially, if I may recall, the location strategy for what do you mean by logistics? Meaning the location strategy for where do I locate a warehouse?
No, everything, because the conditions
Everything
are
is-
not conducive.
Big answer. Okay, and the next part of your question was
About the conditions still worse in the several countries.
okay.
Yeah, like
Thank you.
Palestine and everything. Yeah.
I could give you a lecture for the whole day on that answer, but let me try and indicate to you what I think you imply. if we take the definition of logistics as essentially being the lower part of your diagram, which is the transport and warehousing. So let's take that as an example, okay? So if we take the look, where should I locate my warehouse? It is a very well-defined academic problem called facility location. It is very well defined. It is essentially using simplistically center of gravity to find out where I should locate my facility. The difficulty when you're doing it in the humanitarian logistics is that you don't know where potential disasters might occur, although you have a very good inkling that it will occur. Yeah. So where do I locate those? If I use the traditional optimization tools, they can solve the problem, but they will give you the best answer, which is to locate within a potential disaster area, which would, in an event of a disaster, no longer exist. So you have to adapt such algorithms to actually finding out what is the second best or the next best, because that is very important for us in order to withstand any disaster. So that is a complex problem in itself. How large is that disaster that you are anticipating? What is the area that that particular facility must serve? Yeah. That brings us to the second problem of, which is also very well defined in all software, which is actually how far should I serve? That means we call it service distance. Yeah. At the time. So what is that transportation infrastructure that's required? Humanitarian logistics also have to add in another complexity if the transportation infrastructure is compromised. Okay, so this is the complexities that we as academic researchers, we address. Those are what we call the wicked problems. Okay, so just taking these two very simple problems of warehousing and transport that nearly every commercial logistics company has addressed, bring that into the humanitarian context and it becomes complex. The second area that you talked about in your question is sustainability. What do you define as sustainability? Environmental sustainability, social responsibility, or governance? We now don't use sustainability as much as ESG. Yeah. So what is it that you are looking for? Which is more important in the context that I have talked to you about? I would rate social responsibility as being higher than environmental and governance in a life-saving situation. These are complex inputs that we need to address. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you for your
you.
explanation.
Thank you very much. Next question. Gentleman in the middle with the glasses. Can we? Hello. The one with white t-shirt with glasses. Hello, Miss. Okay.
Okay, before that, hello, my name is Muhammad Kintara from Air Transportation Management Study Program. I'm here, I want to ask directly to Dr. Rita Zahara from University of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. That from the presentation before, you are talking about supply chains, yes? Is it correct, ma'am? Yes. Okay. I just want to know, you've been in Indonesia now, and I want to ask you about what's the difference between supply chains in Indonesia and Malaysia? Does it have similarity or does it have some major difference or minor differences? And Yeah, that's all about it.
All right, thank you very much for the question, and thank you for paying attention to my talk just now. But my background actually is from the technology or IT side. Not really. I am not an expert on logistic or supply chain, but I would try to answer this question based on my knowledge. Yeah. Since I've been here to Indonesia a few times, not just in Jakarta and everywhere else, I wouldn't know the inside, the business part of the supply chain, but I would say uh, there wouldn't be much big difference between Malaysia's supply chain and Indonesia's supply chain. In fact, with other countries as well, it would have the similar needs and requirements. The difference would be the companies involved in the industry, and also I would say the regulation or the authority that governs the supply chain industry. That would be the difference between the two. Yes.
Uh,
Does that answer your question?
Can I have more questions?
More question.
Just one short one.
Okay, just one short one. Okay. Maybe this is just about the technologies between the Indonesian and Malaysian supply chains. And can you tell us about the technology in Malaysia? How does the supply chain in Malaysia works?
The technology
Technology of supply chains in Malaysia.
Yeah, that is that's quite a big question. You know, technology. Okay, you have to understand that when we talk about technology, there's not one technology is not constructed or designed for only one industry. Yeah, one technology can be used in many industries. So if you ask me technology in supply chain specifically, I wouldn't know what to answer, because there are many various technologies being used in supply chain. The ones that I've mentioned just now, you can see I've mentioned AI, machine learning, IoT, data analytics. Automation is also maybe in some parts of the sectors within supply chain. RFID, yeah, and a lot of other things, other technologies as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Timmerman wants to add.
Just to add to Dr. Rita, so what you see in Malaysia, there's a higher level of automation of companies, whereas in Indonesia, I still see a lot of logistics companies didn't look at automation, are still manual, a lot of paperwork, whereas Malaysia is much further in terms of automation, and they use different technologies, modern technologies, whereas you still see in Indonesia a lot of manual operation, paperwork, there's a lack of investment in IT. And we also see that the internet speed in Indonesia is not always consistent, and that might also have certain problems for cloud systems. Whereas in Malaysia, they have high-speed internet, so they can use also cloud-based systems for logistics and supply chain operations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you for that addition. Okay. Do we have? Do you want to
The
add
lady,
something, Dr. Robert? Oh, okay.
the lady there on the
Dr. Robert wants to add something about the difference between, difference between Indonesia and Malaysia. This is an interesting topic for all of us. Okay.
Okay, just let me, because I got the gist of your question, and I think it's been answered, but let me just give you, as a supply chain professional, right? We actually look at what's the difference between any country and your country. You are an archipelago. You have multimodal logistics. You come to Singapore via one main island. We don't have rail freight. Yeah. We don't have long distance trucking. So if you take any country look at the context, not just the problem. So look at the context and you'll see it's multimodal logistics, it's actually archipelagic logistics. And in terms of technology, what is actually important? When you look at it, as you said so rightly, look at the inputs. It's land, labor, capital. What is the cost of land? Land in Singapore is a very high cost because it's very limited. In your country, you have more land. Okay, so the inputs to the production is very important to judge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, right. Next question. Hello. Yes. Thank you, dear. I extend my greetings to distinguished speakers, esteemed guests, and all my friends here. I am Yasinta Putri Cinta from the Faculty of Management and Business at ITL Trisakti. So my question is for Dr. Marco Tiemann. It was very interesting panel because we are like, Indonesia is doing a massive like opening the market all over the world for like halal logistics. And from your presentation, I remember a point where, strangely enough, the dominant player in halal logistics, halal supply chains are not from OIC countries. This is interesting because if we see from the EU, in EU, the halal consumers are from like Turkey, from Indonesia, and from OIC country. And probably the consumer will feel like more confident to buy the product if it's from OIC country. So my question is, my questions are first, what are the strategy we can do to be dominant player in halal logistics, especially in global scope? And the second question is, how can we how can we, sorry, I kind of forget it. I want to promote the halal value chain in like where the consumers of halal logistics are minority. So like in EU, in North America, something like that. How can we make it widely accepted for halal logistics, like the products can be sold without any discrimination there? Because like maybe when you think about halal products in abroad, they will think, oh, the price is slightly higher, so it's hard. And the most common problem of immigrants from OIC country that we might find abroad is that we cannot find like food, like halal food, like even chicken or beef. So how can we improve that? Thank you.
Thank you for your kind question. Yeah, so halal industry has been dominated by non-Muslim majority countries. So in food, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, but also like in logistics for the manufacturing, it was dominated because there's a lack of raw materials, halal, and all they are coming from non-OSCE countries, more or less. For halal logistics, we see also some big initiatives by logistics providers from Europe and also Japan. They are also big players in halal logistics. I think there are opportunities for logistics companies from Muslim majority countries. But strangely enough, when I have discussions with them, they are not always the first one to embrace halal logistics. So I've been advisor to DB Schenker, for example, a company from Germany, one of the biggest logistics service providers. And they said, well, we operate in Muslim majority countries. We want to give respect to the local culture. This is also something good. Our staff, we have Muslim staff. It's a good project to do. So they see they are embracing it. And sometimes logistics companies owned by Muslim, they said, I'm a Muslim. Why do I need to get halal certified? Right? They don't see the urgency or they don't see the value. They only see the cost, the problem. So sometimes the Western companies or Japanese, or they sometimes see the opportunities. They say, hey, there are opportunities in that. Let's create solutions for that space. So what needs to be done was your second question. So I think Pak Rizky is here, the chairman of Asosiasi Logistics, Halal Logistics Association Indonesia. So we need to do outreach. He's doing to understand, to bring the knowledge of halal logistics, to share what are the opportunities there. So he's doing working day and night to socialization of the importance of halal logistics. You students studying at Trisakti, you have to learn about halal logistics. So you can be the ones that are opening halal logistics companies, right?
Oh, yeah.
And remember that slide I gave you here, right? Not only warehouse and transport, that is low margin business. Look at the higher end, 3PL, 4PL. They can make, you can be very successful in that. We also need to look at the halal ecosystem. So I've been working on halal ecosystems where we bring production and logistics together. So these are also very good locations to be in those halal parks, halal ecosystems. And sometimes logistic companies said, why should I put my warehouse in a halal park? Is there already a customer, the chicken and egg situation? So they have a traditional mindset and only will go there when enough customers are there. Then you might be too late. It's a complex puzzle. I've been struggling also sometimes why not more local players have been embracing halal logistics, including ports, seaports and airports in Indonesia and Malaysia. But you can argue there were issues on the imports. We had the halal meat cartel crisis in Malaysia. There was import of horse meat, kangaroo meat, which was not halal, mixed with halal products. So we need, I think OIC countries need to be more careful on better controlling imports into their countries to protect the halal integrity for their consumers. So we need seaports and airports also to participate. And I still see a lukewarm approach regarding halal by them. I said, why should we move into this? And so we need more knowledge, I think, sharing on that halal is not just the slaughterhouse, it's not just a factory. It needs to address the entire supply chain. Thank you.
Thank you. So basically, the future of halal logistics is you. Okay, next question. Gentleman at the back, yeah. Can we have the microphone? Yes.
Okay, so my name is Muhammad Taufiq Banirawan, and I'm from Air Transport Management major. So I want to ask to Sir Robert De Souza. So question is, how can NUS work with the local university in areas such as the sustainable practices in humanitarian logistics? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to see who was asking the question.
At the back near the door.
Okay.
He's sitting down.
Okay, so that's a good question. And we in Singapore, we look to having to work with local universities. One of them is actually Trisakti ITL, and we work very closely. And I think with my good friend sitting over there, maybe you can stand up and tell them, they all know you anyway. We have a very long-standing friendship and collaboration, I think for many, many, many years when he was a young man, yeah? So he's still young, yeah? He tells me he's still young. He's your boss, right? So we have, you cannot do it alone. It's a collaborative effort. We have hosted interns from Trisakti, and I see him standing, he was there standing at the back. Jeremy, are you here? Yeah, he was standing there. So we hosted interns. We look to hosting more. We actually have good relationships with your university. That's why I'm here. We have relationships across Indonesia too. And supported by my good friend at the coordinating ministry. In fact, my induction to Indonesia was through your ministry and through your team who's sitting over there. Yeah. So yes, local knowledge is prime. You cannot hope to go into another country and just do the research work. It has to be done in collaboration with the local university. We have had journeys together. The last time I was here, we talked about bananas and we had a journey to Lampung. Today, we are going to talk about rice in the afternoon. So yes, collaborations are essential and I thank you for accepting that collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. We can have probably one or two more questions. Okay.
Check, check,
Yeah.
check.
Okay.
Siapa nih?
Yes. Which one first? Okay, so whoever has the mic.
Okay, okay.
Oh, both have. Okay.
Yeah, we both have. So,
Okay, collaborate.
okay, maybe after my question, my friend can ask some question.
Thank you so much,
friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the time. My name is Muhammad Syaifal Nugrelahi. My major focus on management logistics. I have a question to Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert, you maybe has familiar with mega trust. Indonesian soon or later gonna be get some big earthquake, like more like 7 to 9 scala Richter. In already we have a bad experience with that. So my question is, what the first step or what the best start that we need to do to face this disaster? Because learn from the previous earthquake like Cianjur, we have a bad nightmare. Some people stop the logistic truck. The distribution of the logistic is not so good. There is overload stock. There is some even not have some stock, but we have that stock. But how to distribute it? A lot of stealing and something like that. We not calculate inventory with so good. It's a bad thing. So what the best start? I know you saw some good solution for us, but as people that work and know the logistic perspective, as a student in logistic, what we need to do first? Thank you very much.
Okay, that's an excellent question and it was in part answered. What you need to do in this room, you have very bright students in logistics. Talk to your lecturers, get motivated, get activated. You don't need folks to come from abroad to tell you what to do. You know what to do. You have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the best advisors. But let me answer your question in a direct way. First of all, there are 4 stages in humanitarian. Let me touch on just 2 in the time available. What you are speaking about is actually response. Before response, you must have preparedness. That is the problem. Where the skills are most required is in preparedness, not in response, not in recovery, but in preparedness. What can we as supply chain professionals do in preparedness? We talked about it earlier. Where should we locate inventory? How do we anticipate potential needs before they occur? So I can give you a long shopping list. If not, do come to our workshops that we are holding regularly in the country. I would welcome you. And you can actually talk about your inventory control strategies and your transportation strategies, which are embedded in your learning. So we welcome you to take part and not just ask me, but do it together as you'll see this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you for the encouragement. Okay, one last question. The one before? Very quick one? Yes, please.
Okay, good afternoon for all the professor. My question is especially for the Professor Dr. Robert De Souza. I'm sorry, sir.
That's so popular.
Okay, the first question is, my question is what should be done in the world of logistics to support the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs for 2023 programs? The second is related to the previous question. He was talking about sustainability, but we still use a lot of paper, such as the airship, ship deck, and airway bill. So we still use a lot of paper. Why don't we use a paper for the logistic company and change the rule or the regulated? So the word is not cutting off the trees and make more worse of the. I'm sorry. It's not safe if you talk about the sustainable, like the renewable energy, carbon footprint residues. If something simple like paper use, we cannot reduce it. Thank you.
Let me ask my good friend here, because this sustainability is not just a topic I talk about. We all are impacted by sustainability. You want to? No? Okay. Okay, so let me talk, because you asked two questions. The second one was longer than the first, so I lost the first question. So what was your first question?
My first question is about the SDGs, sir.
Okay, so about the sustainability goals, right?
Yes, okay.
And the second one is what, how do we reduce the use?
And use the e-paper.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's actually about, we have the 3 R's: reduce, recycle, reuse. Yeah. So it's not about just determining and changing, saying, like I told you in my last slide, sustainability is not a new issue. If each of us thinks before we act or think before we do, we can actually hurt and harm and mitigate any negative impacts caused by sustainability. Yeah, I talked to you about sustainability in my slides from a humanitarian context, and I told you from the logistics and sustainability issues in the humanitarian context, it's not prime. I want to save lives. I have to move things by air. I cannot move things by land or by ocean. So therefore, I'm going to increase my footprint. So some of the actions that we actually do, there is a reason for doing them. Is there a substitute? Is the substitute more expensive? Do we only consider what we are doing right now, or do we consider the total life cycle of the product? Yeah. We have to do both. We can't just expect companies or organizations to make an immediate transition. We have to help them reach that transition point and then sustain what that change has actually occurred. It's not so simple as just get rid of the paper, use a computer. The life cycle of the computer is far more costly than the life cycle of a piece of paper. So don't look at it as just substituting something for A for B. It is actually the life cycle of the activity that you have to be considered with. And that includes transportation and warehousing too. The first part about it is your SDG goals, right? That is a very complex issue. We all have to work within that framework. And yes, so logistics is within that. I talked to you again this morning only from the context of humanitarian logistics, not from the context of the SDG goals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our session. So again, please give a warm applause for all of our presenters today. And also thank you, audience, for your engaging questions. Before we wrap up, we encourage everyone to join the parallel session happening this afternoon. And now I will hand back the microphone to our MC to guide us through the rest of the program. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you very much for our moderator, Ms. Riza. That was indeed a fruitful discussion. And for all our speakers, would you like kindly stand up in front of the stage because we're going to give you a token of appreciation. I would like to invite Pak Warek Satu, Dr. Juliater Simarmata, to deliver the token of appreciation. Dr. Rita, Dr. Marco, Dr. Robert, dan Dr. Muhyiddin, please come forward. Thank you. Dr. Muhyiddin. And the last one for our moderator, Ms. Riza Lestari, please come forward. Okay, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please give another applause for our speakers. The session concludes our global research on sustainable transport and logistics 2024. We would like to extend once again our thank you for our speakers, moderator, participants, and organizing team for making this event a success. And we would like to remind participants to join the parallel sessions at 3 p.m. And once again, I'm Reni, your MC. It has been my pleasure to serve you as MC today. We hope to see you again next year. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye, everybody. Okay, enjoy your lunch and be ready at 1 p.m. in your room. Thank you. See you next year. Bye. Lima. For our guests, we would like to invite you to have lunch on the fifth floor. Our invited guests from our partners, sponsors, Trisakti University, Institut Pariwisata Trisakti, Trisakti School of Management, Sekolah Tinggi Media Komunikasi, Sekolah Tinggi Manajemen Asuransi, dan tamu lain dari berbagai perusahaan. Kami mengundang untuk makan bersama di lantai 5. Terima kasih.
terus menunjukkan tren positif hingga saat ini.
Kebutuhan akan tenaga profesional di sektor udara, darat, laut, dan logistik terus meningkat seiring pertumbuhan ekonomi yang pesat.
Maka tentunya diperlukan institusi pendidikan di bidang transportasi dan logistik terlengkap di Indonesia.
Institut Transportasi dan Logistik Trisakti.
ITL Trisakti awalnya bernama Akademi Angkutan Udara Niaga Trisakti, lalu menjadi Sekolah Tinggi Manajemen Transportasi Trisakti, dan sekarang bertransformasi menjadi Institut Transportasi dan Logistik Trisakti, menyediakan program studi yang lebih komprehensif.
ITL Trisakti terletak di lokasi strategis yang terintegrasi dengan jalur angkutan umum dan moda transportasi lainnya, memastikan aksesibilitas yang optimal. Berdiri di tengah kawasan strategis yang berdekatan dengan sentra aktivitas transportasi dan logistik, juga berlokasi di pusat perekonomian nasional, menjadikan kampus ini sebagai pusat unggulan untuk berbagai peluang kolaborasi dan konektivitas.
Halo, selamat datang di Institut Transportasi dan Logistik Trisakti. Kenalin, aku Karen. Kali ini kita akan keliling kampus ITL Trisakti bersama dengan teman-teman aku ya. Ada Kak Fando.
Halo, ada juga Kak Victoria, mahasiswa dari Timur Leste.
Halo, dia Talai. Yuk ikut kita mengenal lebih dalam tentang ITL Trisakti. ITL Trisakti telah menarik minat mahasiswa dari berbagai negara untuk bergabung dan memperoleh pendidikan yang berkualitas. Didukung dengan puluhan dosen, baik yang tengah menempuh maupun yang telah lulus dari program doktor, serta puluhan lainnya yang merupakan lulusan dari kampus luar negeri yang ternama, menjadikan kualitas serta akreditasi dari ITL Trisakti tidak perlu diragukan lagi.
Halo.
Hai, Jana.
Nah, itu tadi anak-anak vokasi. Buat kamu yang ingin kuliah dalam waktu 3 tahun dan sudah dipersiapkan untuk masuk ke dalam dunia kerja, program vokasi sangat cocok untuk kamu. ITL Trisakti memiliki 3 peminatan untuk vokasi. Ada manajemen transportasi udara, laut, serta logistik dan material.
Nah, kenalan yuk sama fakultas aku yang paling ramai di sini. Fakultas Manajemen dan Bisnis. Di sini, kamu tidak hanya mempelajari ilmu manajemen secara general, tetapi kamu juga akan mempelajari ilmu manajemen transportasi udara, darat, laut, perkeretaapian, dan logistik. Seru banget kan? Kamu tahu nggak, teknik di kampus ini tuh teknik yang jarang ditemuin di Indonesia. Kenapa?
Karena di sini kamu akan ketemu dengan teknik dirgantara, teknik kelautan, dan teknik rekayasa infrastruktur dan lingkungan. Menarik bukan?
Masa tuh? Hei, sini deh. Mau tahu nggak? Fakultas aku, fakultas permintaan langsung dari Bapak Presiden Joko Widodo sejak tahun 2017 loh. Kenalin, Fakultas Sistem Transportasi dan Logistik memiliki dua program studi, Sistem Transportasi dan Sistem Logistik.
Nah, gimana? Udah Kak, itu aja. Belum dong. Kalau kamu sudah lolos dari program sarjana, kamu bisa lanjut program magister di ITL Trisakti dengan 7 peminatan manajemen transportasi dan logistik. Dan yang paling keren adalah di ITL Trisakti sudah ada program doktor ilmu manajemen dengan 4 kehasilan manajemen transportasi dan logistik. Wah, keren dan lengkap banget ya Kak. Pastinya dong. Sekarang, yuk kita kenalan dengan sahabat-sahabat di ITL Trisakti. Let's go.
Untuk memberikan jaringan koneksi yang luas bagi mahasiswanya, ITL Trisakti telah bekerja sama dengan lebih dari 100 perusahaan dan universitas nasional maupun internasional. Menariknya, 80% mahasiswa yang belum lulus sudah mendapatkan pekerjaan loh dengan adanya kolaborasi ini. Selain itu, ITL Trisakti juga sangat mendukung para mahasiswanya agar mendapatkan pengalaman belajar yang lebih luas dengan program-program internasional yang dapat diikuti. Mulai dari Malaysia, Cina,
Korea Selatan, hingga Belgia. Tidak hanya berfokus pada bidang akademik, ITL Trisakti juga menoreh prestasi di bidang non-akademik. Berbagai kejuaraan nasional hingga internasional telah diraih oleh mahasiswa ITL Trisakti. Selain pengalaman belajar, pengalaman organisasi juga tidak kalah penting. Kamu bisa bergabung dengan 30 lebih organisasi mahasiswa pilihan kamu yang pastinya berguna untuk pengembangan minat dan bakat mahasiswa. Sejak tahun 1970 hingga sekarang, dengan total lebih dari 20.000 alumni, telah sukses menjalani karirnya di industri transportasi dan logistik nasional hingga internasional loh. ITL Trisakti terus berkomitmen dalam mendukung pendidikan dengan adanya banyak program beasiswa, dengan jalur masuk sesuai dengan potensi calon mahasiswanya.